Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of TBR, and I'm your host, George Binns. And this evening, we're having a wonderful discussion with our local state senator, Joan B. Lovely. Welcome, Senator Lovely.
Thank
How are you
George.
today?
I'm good. Nice to be back. Thank you.
So, one of the things you mentioned, one of the previous discussions we had, was that this year the government is going to say we want all the bills reviewed at least the first time by December.
The first Wednesday in December.
First Wednesday in December.
It's December 3rd this year. We are.
Good. Super.
We are. So, so we have these joint rules. So I'm the chair of the Joint Rules Committee in the Senate, and Chair Galvin is the rep in the House who was the chair. And we have worked hard with leadership to come up with a joint rules package that we passed back in the late spring. And we have imposed a much more stringent timeline to get our work done. And because we've listened to the voters, so we've listened to our residents who said, your timeline doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we moved it up a couple of months. We used to have that deadline in February. And then we really only had from February into July to get a lot of
to
work
get the
done.
budget settled.
Right, and bills
haven't been
passed.
making it for a number of years.
And bills passed, right. We did this for this fiscal year, FY26, we passed it on the last day, but that was the first time in the now 13 years that I've been in the Senate that we've done that. We need to operate on time.
Yeah,
so this makes us do that.
Yeah, it gives you more time to think about it rather than get jammed up against the deadlines.
I will tell you, if you take a bill from the very beginning that you file that bill all the way to the end where it hits the governor's desk, there have been so many people that have looked at that bill, from residents to advocates to both the House and the Senate, but also state agencies that it may impact. Of course, the governor's office, the administration. So it goes through several iterations. That's why for most bills for first filing, they don't pass the first session.
Yeah.
They really need another session to really get through the process.
Well, the government is a complicated business.
It is. Some people would say too complicated. I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
There are ways and that's why we've changed our rules to be more transparent and to move our business along faster.
Yeah. And are you pushing anything this year?
I have a number of bills that I'm pushing, and I will tell you a bill that I'm really hoping to get to the governor's desk, and we're working really hard. Matter of fact, the New York Times just picked up this bill this week, and it has to do with changing the age of consent. So you know that
you talked about that.
A lot of my bills are about child sexual abuse prevention, and this particular bill says that someone who, the age of consent for sex in Massachusetts is 16. But say you're a student in a school, and there's an educator or someone in the school system. It's not just with schools, though.
No,
we're going to use it as an example, but this is across all spectrums where there's a young person who's under what we call the authority and trust of an adult.
Yeah.
That adult cannot engage in a sexual relationship with that 16 and 17-year-old. Until they turn 18.
Yeah. And
we've seen many states pass this, and now we're hoping to pass it in Massachusetts.
What are you going to pass it to?
So we're gonna pass it in the Senate, send it to the House. The House will pass it.
What age are you going to?
So what we're going to do is raise the age for consent in that particular situation from 16 to 18.
Okay.
So if you're under the authority or trust of an adult, who you cannot enter into a sexual relationship with that adult at 17 or 16, 17, or 18 years old. 16 and 17 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's a little more
Seems pretty sensible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you get them out of high school.
Let's get them grown up a little bit more. But there's too many instances where there's grooming that takes place, where adults will start to groom a young person before they turn 16. Gifts and don't you look nice, and maybe trips and things like that, school trips, and then as soon as they turn 16, then that sexual relationship happens.
And they pounce,
Yep. Nope. They're saying no.
So what else are you working on?
We are working on a number of bills. My computer just went black. So right now we're working on getting our bills done for our Joint Rule 10-day, as we talked about. As the chair of rules, a number of those bills are coming into rules, so we are processing them through. And when a bill comes into rules, into the rules committee, we then have to look at all of the testimony that came in on that bill in favor and opposition, review all of it. Then we have to send that bill out to the state agencies again that will be impacted by that bill. So the Rules Committee is very busy right now. Yeah, we're not a typical committee that starts at the beginning of the year. Our work kind of piles up towards the end of the year and into next year.
Yeah. So you're getting into this business of streamlining the government, I guess, which is a good idea.
We really are. You know, another bill that we just did was on, we are restructuring the Cannabis Commission. So the Cannabis Commission, you've probably seen it.
Yeah,
in the
there's been
news
a lot of news
been,
on it. Yeah,
there's been a lot of news that it's needed
not
to be
working too smoothly.
Correct. So we've restructured it to a 3-member commission with an executive director, so that they actually have someone who works full-time with them to oversee the cannabis industry, which is pretty massive in Massachusetts now that it's legalized. And so we do think that this will be able to have this commission work much more effectively and respond to our municipalities.
It seems like what I've seen in the paper that for a while it was a big deal that everybody was buying the cannabis because now it's legal, you can do it.
Right.
And the novelty seems to have worn off.
Well, you know, people are pretty serious about wanting to purchase their cannabis. I'm not an imbiber, but I certainly respect people who do want to use that type of substance. And you know, one thing about it, with it being regulated, it's regulated from seed to sale.
Yeah.
There's actually a SKU, an SKU, on every seed as it grows, as it's processed, as it's sold. So they can track it all the way through. It's really quite remarkable. And one thing about it, it's highly tested for, you know, different types of chemicals and, you know, things that should not be in cannabis.
Yeah.
Especially if there's any, you know, the cannabis that you may buy on the streets today could be laced with fentanyl.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they hook, you know, their next fentanyl users and heroin users. So it really is a highly regulated industry. Yeah. And we want to make sure that it's safe for the consumer to be able to consume. One thing we talked about, though I will add this, when we were debating this bill just last week, is about liquid cannabis or about cannabinoids or THC in candy products and in liquid products.
Oh.
And is that somehow available to our younger people? Unknowingly, as you know, somebody who's purchasing candy for their supermarket, you know, what does it have in it? So we want to make sure we've regulated that as well, and we have.
So that has to be sold by a cannabis dealer, not in the supermarket.
Exactly.
Yeah, I always remember the stories about the Mary B. Tokus brownies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, that was a hell of a party. I think. I don't remember much of it, though. Yeah. But, yeah, so that's a serious business, I guess. And
it is a serious business, and that's why we really need to do like a kind of a small overhaul of the cannabis industry, just to make sure that they're operating the way that they should be and they want to be.
Yeah.
But we've put some more rules in place.
Yeah, it's like the liquor business. It's something that's recreational.
Yep.
And
like alcohol.
yeah, and it can be abused, so it's got to be treated.
It's got to be regulated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
The other thing that keeps popping up is the issue about, I guess, who's in the homes for the homeless. And there seems to be some buzz going around about, well, there's more illegals in there than there are legals. And is that
It's not true.
Okay.
No. So if you read about immigration law, and it's really on mass.gov and it's on the federal website, you have to be documented to be eligible for any type of services. The only thing you don't have to be eligible for, documented for, is if you have some type of life-threatening illness,
Yeah.
you're going to be seen in a hospital.
Yeah, you go to the emergency room, they got to treat you.
Yeah,
There's no way out
exactly.
of it.
No matter, it doesn't matter where you're from,
Yeah.
how you got here. You're
Yeah.
going to be treated if you need to be treated by a medical facility or a doctor. But all these, like SNAP benefits, which used to be called food stamps, not
Yeah.
available to undocumented. Housing, not available to undocumented. You have to show documentation. So, and we've had this law in place since Dukakis, since Governor Dukakis, that we are a right to shelter state. And what that means is families.
Yeah.
So you have to be an adult with a minor child to be eligible, regardless of documentation. Although once you're in the system, then, and I will tell you, it just happened in the last couple of years because we had this huge onslaught of immigrants that came to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
They're documented now. We worked with the federal government under the prior administration to document, and a lot of these people are working. And I think in a prior show I had told you about Salem, how Salem had, Salem State had an empty dorm, and there were some immigrants there for about a year. All of them became documented. All of them got working papers, and they all went to
what
work.
does documented really mean? Are they citizens?
No.
Okay.
No, they're not.
They have
and
green cards?
No, they don't. No, you have to work to get a green card, and then you work from the green card to citizenship. But this is all federal. The state level does not oversee this. But documented means that you are here under asylum. What's the reason that you're in the country?
Yeah.
Are you fleeing your homeland because, you're being persecuted, you need asylum here? What is the, and on the federal website, it shows what those criteria are. That's documented. So you're here under a legal status, documentation. Then you work to get a green card, the way I understand it.
Yeah.
Then you work from green card to citizenship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things I was kidding with some of the guys at Y is I pulled up a website on the immigration test
Yes.
and I started asking guys questions. We got to the fourth question. They hadn't answered one right yet. So that gets to be
Who's
another
the
issue.
Secretary of State? Who's the, right? Who's the Vice President?
What kind of a government do we have?
Right.
Fundamental questions
Well, that
like
speaks to civics education that we have now put as a curriculum in our public schools because kids graduate and they don't know.
Yeah, when I took high school, freshman year, we had a course in civics.
Right.
And I don't remember much of it, but at least you were exposed to it. You went through it once, so next time it shows up, oh yeah, I remember that from way back when.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's another issue. I think that the school systems need some major overhauls.
Right. And we've put that in place. Civics, sorry. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
Civics education. We've put that curriculum in place, working with the Department of Education, because we see the importance of it. That and financial literacy. Do you know how to balance a checkbook?
Oh yeah.
Well, so that's important too. We've put that in place as well.
Yeah, how to get a loan? What does it mean when you take out a loan?
Exactly. Take out a credit card, right? What's the interest rate on that credit card? Don't make the minimum payment on that credit card. You'll never pay it off.
Yeah.
Right.
And you get to some of the issues about, okay, you're going to go to college and you're going to borrow some money.
Right.
Brace yourself,
Right.
So I think, this financial literacy is an important subject, and it's glossed over. I think there's
These
a
are
lot
the
of
basics.
practical stuff
Right.
that used to be taught in the schools, and it's just not taught anymore.
Right.
And
Right.
the
Well,
kids are missing out.
it's making a comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more kids taking, Essex Tech is such a popular school. It has a huge waiting list. They turn away way more students than they're able to take. Although I think they're over 2,000 students now. It's a big school. They are adding on or refurbishing older buildings to be able to accommodate more students. But there's a lot of students that can't get into the school. So Salem High, Peabody High have what they call continuing, it's CTE, programs. So they're tech programs. So, for example, yeah, you want to be a nurse. Well, maybe you start out, as a nurse assistant.
Yeah.
Or do you want to go into culinary? Maybe you want to do carpentry or plumbing or electrician. I want to be my plumber. Okay.
Yeah.
I really, if I had a do-over, I would be a plumber.
Okay.
Right. So, anyway, these are the programs that these kids want now.
Yeah.
And so now they're starting to teach to that.
Well, that's the basic problem in the country as a whole. We don't make anything anymore. And
True.
one of the issues you get into is it's almost a combination of things that we are very short on housing.
Right.
Not only in Massachusetts, not only Beverly, but the whole country is really short on housing,
Right.
at least where people are. And at the same time, it's one of the easiest trades to get into.
True.
You don't have to have too much skill or experience to start working on a construction job.
Right.
And if you like it and you develop a skill for it, you can move up through it.
Right.
And that's what my father did. And he eventually went back to school nights and he got his electrical license, and he made a career out of it.
Right.
So it's not something new, but at the same time, it sort of kills two birds with one stone. Puts people to work that need to get jobs and money, and it also gets to the point of, oh, we got more housing.
Right.
And I think the big problem is going to have to be overcome with that is, where are you going to get the land? And
Right. Land and supplies are expensive. We saw during COVID when a lot of these lumber mills across the country
yeah.
and Canada shut down, and then it took them months and months to come back up to speed once they got the go-ahead to go back into operation. Gosh, the price of a 2x4 was $9.
I know, it's unreal. A sheet of plywood's $100.
Right. Crazy.
And
so that's costly. That just adds so much more cost.
yeah.
If you're a developer, you're entitled to make a profit.
Oh yeah, you're in the business to make a profit
Yes,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what makes this country work. The
That's
fact
right.
that people can get into business and make a profit doing
That's right.
it.
That's right. They need to put dinner on the table too,
Yeah,
but it's become so costly.
yeah.
It's hard.
And one of the other ones I think is, I get on this kick every so often about regulations, just bogging down the business of everything, from my favorite nuclear power to even construction. And Andrew DeFrenza of the Harbor Light Homes put an
Yes.
article on the website about a couple of months ago. And in the construction business, not only do you have to know what town you're in to find out what the rules are, but who's the inspector going to be? And years ago, I was doing an overhaul job on our kitchen, and my wife wanted to have a casement window over the sink. Okay. And it worked out. I could buy a casement window that fit into where the old window used to be,
Perfect.
plus where the weights used to hang in the sides.
Wow.
And so I called up the building inspector and asked him, do I need a permit to do this? And his question was, well, are you going to change anything structural? Well, no, I can just cut back the siding and the window fits.
Right.
Okay, you don't need a permit. Now, if you want to do anything, it's a permit, and the minimum price is $60.
Right.
So it's counterproductive in a lot of ways. And I think, again, we've got to get into the idea that we got to simplify the system.
Be practical.
Be practical,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Not everybody can hire a contractor to be able to replace out a window. Not everyone has the skill that you have to have been able to do that. So they may have to hire a contractor, and that really blows up the price
Yeah.
even more. So, as a result, a lot of people don't make improvements to their home, or if they do, and they know that there's a cost to it, say for the building permit,
yeah.
they don't pull a permit. But they really, they go to sell that house, and then that's when a problem could arise.
Yeah. And well, right now, we're having work done on our house, and the contractor is hung up waiting for the inspector to come. And you get into these kind of problems
Right.
that just snowballs.
It does.
And
It does.
we get into all these kind of fun issues, but
Or not so fun.
no. But this whole issue, I guess, of over-regulation and overproduction of too many rules and regulations that tend to slow everything down. And we've got to start to think of simplifying the system.
I couldn't
so it
agree
makes
more.
it reasonable.
Yep.
So the government at the federal level seems to got over the shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
Has the money started to flow back again? Are we back in business?
So
or are we
we
still...
we hear it has, but I will tell you that our Attorney General, there was some clawback by the federal government of some ARPA funds, and so we're waiting for those dollars to come back. I'm trying to see what the amount is for Massachusetts. It was in the millions for SNAP, but yes. From my understanding, people will see their SNAP benefits going into their accounts so that they can spend that. Now, I want to give a shout out first to Representative Bowen. When this happened last, when they were saying they were going to withhold the SNAP benefits as of November 1st, she started an initiative right here in Beverly and got to get all of the area providers, Bootstraps, and in Peabody, and in Salem, the Salem Pantry, and housing, and did just a terrific job of bringing everyone together. Got an emergency phone call. Okay, who has what? What do you have over here? What do you have over here?
Yeah.
How can we get that to these individuals? Who are these individuals? How do we identify them? Because if you're on SNAP, George, let's face it,
Yeah.
you're scraping by,
Yeah,
barely. So
you depend on every week a trip to the marketplace
You
because you
do.
haven't got nothing on the shelf.
exactly. So she did a great job of bringing everybody together. Pulled my office in on it, and we all got together, and really made sure that while we were in this gray area of people not having their SNAP benefits, couldn't go to the grocery store, that they had good food available to them. So I wanted to give a shout out to her. She did a great job
Okay.
on that. So we've been working hard, and SNAP benefits are flowing again to our knowledge, and we're waiting for some of this clawback money to come back into not just Massachusetts, but across the country,
Oh, yeah.
for our food programs. I wanted to just also mention that the Greater Boston Food Bank in Boston is where most of the food for the state comes into the Greater Boston Food Bank, right in Boston, and then the area pantries like Bootstraps, like the Salem Pantry, have trucks. They go in, they pick up their allotment, they come out. But that means lots of trucks from all over the North Shore and
yeah.
Essex County. Everybody's going into Boston. So the Greater Boston Food Bank, we just unveiled this last week, is through the Salem Pantry now has a big warehouse space on Highland Avenue in Salem.
Oh, that's
It
neat.
used to be the
Yeah.
old Tropical Products location. And so the Greater Boston Food Bank will now deliver food right there. And now Beverly can go right to Salem. Peabody can go right to Salem instead of going
that's
into
neat,
Boston. Yeah, makes a lot more sense. It's a huge warehouse. It can hold a tremendous amount of fresh food weekly, and then these area food
Yeah.
pantries can go right there.
It cuts down, like you say, the traffic congestion.
It does.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. So, yep. And so that's wanted to give a shout out for that as well. A lot of people working hard to make sure people are fed.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things going on, and that's
Right.
basically this is my big complaint with the mainstream media, that you don't hear about that.
No.
And it makes so much difference to the people that really need the help.
It does.
And they're not involved in a murder or a rape or some other nasty thing, and
Right.
therefore it doesn't make the papers.
One more thing I want to mention, a feel-good story. Today is National Adoption Day. So we were at the probate and family court this morning seeing 8 families become families.
Oh, wow.
It was wonderful. It was a wonderful ceremony to see, and they were from little ones to big ones. And now they're families, 8 families.
Yeah, that's something else that's been catching a little bit of flack lately of how the state manages the
Foster care system.
foster care system, yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Some of these kids most were out of foster care. Some were direct adoptions. But yeah, no, our foster care system is squeezed. And I will tell you, the social workers that do this work are amazing.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to remove a child from a home, it's for a pretty dire circumstance.
Yeah.
And really, it's about reunification of trying to get that child back into that home, stabilize that home, stabilize the parent or parents, whoever the caregivers are, and get the child back in. It's tough.
Yeah,
It's tough.
it's a big problem.
It is. A lot of it's drug related. You know, so how do we support the parent or the parents?
Get them into rehab.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the programs are available, you know, so I've been part of that for really since I've been in the Senate, working on that policy and that budget to make sure that that stays together. But we need more foster parents. We absolutely need more foster parents in the system.
Well, that got to be one of the items in the paper recently where a couple was a foster parent and they got their license revoked because they didn't want to buy into this transgender business.
And they had a transgender child.
Well, they didn't have it. I guess it's part of the licensing agreement that you agree to modify the kid's environment so that they can be whatever they want.
Yeah.
And they were saying, no, that's against my religion, and
Okay.
don't want any part of that. And they
Right.
pulled their license on account of
boy.
it. So there's some funny stuff going on
Yeah.
still.
You know, I mean, yeah, I can see that. I can, you know, we just have to make it work. We have to
Yeah.
make the system work. You know,
yeah, it looks like it's getting there.
yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for joining us this evening. And as I mentioned always, if you've got a comment, my email address is in the credits. And if you've got a longer statement to make, there's room for you here at the table. And stay tuned. We'll be back.